for Elias, who I think I thought you slipped out here, for setting this up. Now in year 2, I've gotten to know the crew here at South Central Premier pretty well. A couple of other hats I wear, as you know, I'll refer to them as we go through this, and I think it's sort of how I evolved into this position. I've worked with the U14 boys national team as an assistant on their staff. That's our intro level, that's our first national team, currently 1995 birth years. So this is my 10th year with them, and then my 8th year as an assistant with the under 15 boys national team, currently 1994s. When we were just starting to think about this league, one of the final pushes that we had to do something came on a day in a room much like this in New Jersey. We had the under 15 national team together. It was the 1990s, which currently make up our under 20. There's still 8 of those guys involved, which is great, that were in Jersey for the first camp. We have only 5 camps a year for the under 15s. So we have 45 guys together for our first camp of the 1990s in New Jersey, and the first day was really sluggish. We have meetings every night with these guys. So we decided that we were going to do a little survey that night because we suspected things in terms of why it looked sluggish, why guys looked a little bit burnt. So we just asked them a few questions, and then we sent this information to the top of U.S. Soccer, and they went, holy cow, because it was alarming. And basically we said, how many games do you play a year? Some of them had up to 100 in a year, even if they were in the East. So think about that schedule crammed in. Up to 100 a year. And then we said, well, how many of these, we defined a good game. We said, well, how many of these are good games? Like what you feel in a national team for the 14s. A good, fast game that demands your concentration, that demands you really clean with the ball. You can't be sloppy, no breaks, no bad habits, where you feel really stretched, mentally, physically, and technically, that you feel really challenged. And they said 5, 6, if you don't count the national team camps. Bad ratio. The Academy is for players who seek the opportunity to reach their potential, whether it's college, pro, or national teams, in the best development environment in the U.S. Hands down, the Academy is where the best players need to be. And that's not to say that there's other clubs doing a good job with player development, but if you're an elite player that fits this, there's just no other league that compares, and the resources that we provide. But you have to be willing to practice 3 or 4 times a week. That's been an issue for some players. 30-game competitive schedule, and compete against the best clubs. There's no more easy games where you feel like the man every week. Be scouted by national team coaches and scouts. I'll talk about the numbers there, but personally, I've seen South Central Premier play 4 times this year, and I would say, based on our scouts, I would say we've probably officially scouted South Central Premier close to 20 times this year. It's probably just like that for all 74 clubs in the country, which is pretty impressive. We'll talk more about that process. And be scouted by college coaches. I think do you remember the numbers from the showcase, the recent showcase?
No, two something.
Yeah, it was over 200 college coaches were at the recent showcase in Sarasota, as well as MLS and professional coaches. We had scouts from Arsenal there. We had scouts from Real Madrid there.
What we said before, it's important that the message about what this means as an opportunity gets out, and that's not just going to come from me, it's not just going to come from Elias or from Bobby. This is why we're glad that you're here, and you're going to take this information with you, and the players that are here, you guys are going to talk about it in school tomorrow, hopefully, and friends that play with you, whether it's on your club team or your ODP team, your school team, hopefully the word's going to get to them. And Tony hit it on the head. It's going to take time, and we're still fighting a very compartmentalized, mentality, within the state that Bobby touched on before, and that's not going to change overnight. It's going to take patience. It's going to take, diligence. It's going to take, more phone calls that I made already this week to a variety of clubs and coaching directors, within the state at the premier level, to try and talk to them about cooperation. And every one that I've talked to is like, how does it help us? How does it help your players is really what it's all about. How do you best serve your players?
Tony, you hit on something that I've come across in all the towns and people I speak to, and that is these town programs see us as the enemy. And we try to tell them we're not the enemy. We're trying to help your players, and we're trying to get this message across that we will cooperate. We will do free things for you, free clinics. Your kids can still play in your town programs. But it's my feeling that in some cases, if we don't get the kids at what I think is the change from recreational to now premier, somewhere around that 10, 11-year age group, that if we let them go, certain bad habits occur, all right, that when they become 14, they're not really the same player. And we made a concerted effort to try to get these players at 9, 10, 11. In fact, we have a pool program now of 6 to 9-year-olds, which is doing very well. But we can do so much. But we're viewed exactly as what you said. I think it would be helpful from the academy or the federation to maybe send a message to the presidents of the various associations that trickle down now to the various clubs that these people are trying to help you. You know, we're not trying to hurt you, we're trying to help you. And now you get two messages, one from us and what we're trying to do and how we act, and second, from the leaders, and that is the academy or the federation.
No, that's the bottom line. You know, when you hear this, well, they just want to steal our pledges. You say, listen, no, you can't. Do you really think you're going to compete with them because they pay their coaches? Your volunteer group, they have these facilities. They do it this often. They have this exposure and this opportunity. So the best models I've seen, Bob, is now where clubs are going in and helping the rec programs on the field and helping their coaches. And now the collaboration happens, and once they get to know you and your staff, they are very comfortable saying, here's the next one. It's that, and so there's a lot of clubs now doing that. In this, you know, in the East Conference, there's many clubs that are doing it what you would hope for, not be business reasons, but for development reasons. And that's another part of this trickle down that we were hoping to see, just like the one thing the England academies do, I think, well, is define the zones, and then they have to work with all those. Problem is they all want to go outside their zone and find the next guy, but I think
the way they do is with the pro teams.
Yeah.
Every pro team has an academy.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yep. No, exactly. So, and they have a soccer and the community director. So it's this soccer and the community kind of stuff that will help. But if there's a statement that we can come up with, Bob, I think with the presidents, that's something I'll bring up with. If there are more questions, I'll stick around. This way the group doesn't have to, if you have something you got to get to.
But not too long, because we got to get Tony out of here so we can watch the game. Hey, everybody, first of all, I want to say thank you to all of you for coming out and supporting us, and to Tony for making a long trip down to be with us tonight. We have a small token gesture of appreciation. We got him one of our coaching books.
I love this.
Okay, he's always looking for schematic places to write stuff down, and we want to send him off with that. So thank you very much. If there's any questions, please feel free to get in contact. And thanks again for coming.
Thanks, everybody.